Okay, hello, voiceover Chloe here. Shout out to my friend Penny who gave me this recipe in the first place. The full recipe and ingredients can be found below, but let's kick into baking. Firstly, all you need is 1/4 cup of warm water and 1 1/4 teaspoons of loose yeast. Mix them together and leave it for about 5 minutes. You should see that the mixture has a few small bubbles, and that should indicate that the yeast is still active. If it's not active, the mixture won't rise properly in the future, so it's good to pay attention to this now. And another quick tip here is I was told to keep the yeast fresh by storing it in the freezer, and it is lasting really well that way, so I do recommend that too. While you wait, you can get a large bowl and add the flour and sugar, leaving a well in the middle where you will add the water and yeast mix, plus about another 3/4 cup of warm water. After that 5 minutes, mix the wet and dry ingredients together and very much add the water as you go until you get the right consistency. You'll see here that I added it all at once and the mixture was too runny, so I ended up adding more flour and sugar, but that is definitely the harder way round. The consistency you are looking for is a loose batter, but it should be able to hold together, not too runny or too thick. At this stage, you need to wait for the batter to rise, and it will do this best in a warm area of the house, and it helps if you cover it with a towel. A rough guide is to leave it from anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours for this much batter. I was about to cook lunch, so its current position next to the stove was pretty good, and after 90 minutes it looked like this. It rose so much that some of it got onto the towel, but after lightly stirring it, it will deflate a bit, and that is why I say to use a big bowl. Next comes the deep frying, and the tip here is to choose a small but deep pot for this, so you don't need quite so much oil. You can see here I use about half of this big bottle of sunflower oil in this small pot, but the oil can actually be reused a few times before it becomes dirty, so after the oil cools back down, you can actually pour it back into the bottle or into a separate jar and use it for another batch of donuts. So I've heard there are a few techniques to make the dough balls, and the only one I've tried is by using 2 spoons to make the balls and drop them into the frying pan, so this is how I do it. It isn't perfect, but it's homemade, so it isn't meant to be. The oil needs to be super hot, and as a test I'll drop 1 ball in to watch it brown nicely, then I'll start to make the rest, and I'll also wait for it to cool down a little bit and tear it into 2 so that I can see if the insides are cooked or if it's still a bit battery in the middle, which is not nice. Each ball will probably take a minute or 2 to fry, and once they're done, pop them onto something that will absorb the oil and let them cool down a little before eating. Once it's all done, add toppings of your choice and watch some Netflix. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Thank you again to Penny so much for giving it to me. I love it, and I probably make these at least once a month. I love that it's pretty much just 5 ingredients that you have inside your house anyway, and it makes these really easy to make as long as you can wait a couple of hours to eat them. They are so delicious, I highly recommend making them, and please do let me know in the comments if you give it a go. Bye!